Shouts out to all the elders, youngsters, do the knowledge, brick the foundation. King G, grandma said, foundation of a king.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and I attended Dr. Dillard's class about internet safety, and I think it was a really informative class, and it taught me a lot about the rules of the web, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know, like the importance of not putting all your business on your social media and stuff.
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and I'm a project manager and computer scientist. And I was inspired by Dr. Dillard to actually go into the field of IT, because originally I was actually more involved in international business. I was a little intimidated by IT because I thought that maybe it was too technical, too uninteresting for someone who was really into interacting with people in the international space. But I did learn through my program, after I decided to give IT a try, that it's a field where you're really fully integrated into the business side of things.
Hi, I'm Roy, Christian counselor as well as a success coach. Dr. Dillard has been my mentor, and a very good mentor, I may add, for several years. And with the mentoring that Dr. Dillard has given me, I am so appreciative, because I'm so much more aware of what's going on in government, in our security system, especially since 9/11. I'm just totally sensitive to what's going on around me, even as I travel. And I can say this is all through the privacy and awareness, even with my cell phone. If you may notice, I'm wearing a Fitbit, but I'm not 100% comfortable with this because of what I'm told and how I've been mentored along this line. So I'll be taking this off now.
Hi, my name is Michael McGenji. I am an information security specialist, actually an information security trainer. I'm just going to talk a bit about how Dr. Dillard influenced me in my life, my career. I found a lot of positive influence from his teachings, and just the way he approached the whole information security subject. I actually still use a lot of those teachings in my lectures, in my orientations, at the company I currently work at this day. So he definitely has had a positive influence on me, as well as other people I know I've worked with, gone to school with over the past few years.
Hi, I'm Lavette. I am a facility coordinator, and Dr. Dillard has impacted me as an individual and as an employee in the area of security awareness, especially considering the new iPhones, the new intelligent devices that are available now.
Good afternoon. My name is Keir McLemore, and today I'm here at the Charles H. Wright Museum, where we have Science Saturday, which is hosted by Dr. Dillard. And this is my third or fourth event that I've been to on a Science Saturday. And I think, in my opinion, it's real important, and my son concurs, obviously, that for our youth, it is essential for them to have more of a supplementary education, some things that you will not find in traditional educational facilities.
My name is Kendall. The IT course was very, very knowledgeable. I learned a lot about internet safety, protecting myself on the internet, a lot about who I'm protecting myself from and why I need to protect my information. And I learned a lot about what can happen if you don't protect yourself on the internet. So I think that's pretty important.
Hi, I'm Daryl Robinson. I'm an administrative assistant, and Dr. Dillard has taught me a lot in the short time that I've been able to know him about internet security and just being aware of what's out there as far as the information systems. So one thing that really sticks out with me is not necessarily being aware of USB and flash drives and implementing that or putting that into a system and not knowing where it came from. So he definitely kind of made me aware that, hey, you want to make sure where it came from, because you can definitely jeopardize the system, networks, and people can hack into your computer and your system. So,
hi, my name is Sakina Tanzil, and I'm a senior information security process analyst. I first met Dr. Dillard at Baker College in 2008 in an IT security course. Every week we had to find a new article on cyber attacks that were happening in the nation. And I was scared to get up in front of people, but with that practice, I got more prepared, and it just carried on after school. After I graduated and everything, I wanted to find out more about the attacks so I can share security awareness threats through the community and through the places that I work, the businesses and things of that nature. But I'm so glad that I met him. It was nice to see another African American in the industry that was doing good, and it showed an example that I can be that too. So he's been a great mentor.
Hello, I'm Dale. Just talking to you all a little bit today about Dr. Dillard. Dr. Dillard is my mentor. He's actually the person that got me into IT. Currently, I'm a level 2 IT agent. I've had several promotions in the current business that I'm working for. I'm also an IT student. I was in sales before I got into IT, and I met Dr. Dillard through a mutual friend. And so I sat with Dr. Dillard, and he explained to me the difference between a simple programmer and IT and how influential IT is for the future. He gave me some homework, so to speak, to do. So I went in and looked at everything that he said, and it was absolutely the way that he said it. When I looked at it, I saw how important it was for the future across the board. He gave me a lot of insight. He told me about what credentials I should get, which ones are the best out in the industry. He even told me a great school to go to, and I followed his directions exactly the way that he said it. So going for my Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology, and I'm also going for my first certification right now. My goal is by the end of 2016 to have 2 certifications and be finished with my bachelor's degree. So far for my career and just my understanding of IT in general, Dr. Dillard has been very influential, and he's given me insight that I really couldn't put a value on.
Tune in live Tuesday nights, preparation for the urban nation, trying to let you know a little motivation at T-Fo. We trying to get you over that grid, on our own shit, power to the people.
Peace and power. You're now tuned into Readyo Radio. That's Readyo Radio. You tune in live at Detroit United, our headquarters, Detroit, Michigan. I'm one of your co-hosts of the show, Mindful B.
Kojo Lee. Info Key.
We have a phenomenal guest for episode 50 entitled Information Technology, Gateway to the Future, with the illustrious, the brilliant, magnanimous Dr. Dillard.
Thank you for that introduction.
And so you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow people on Facebook, right? Follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, Readyo Radio. That's Ready with an O, Radio. And also check out our website, RadyoRadio.com. And as we said, this is episode 50. We've been doing this a little while. And today's episode is about information technology. And we got Dr. Dillard. And I'm going to kick it right over to Kojo to talk about why is this a valuable thing to even be talking about?
Well, it's important nowadays to understand how relevant technology has always played in the development of humans, and also development of being able to create something new. And in today's age, we don't have a lot of people actually going back and giving our black youth, our urban environments, these tools that allows them to stay ahead of the game, so to speak. And so we're looking at information technology. We're looking at, right now in the health field, we see a big push to get everything digitized. We see police are now having cameras put on their badges. So we're seeing more and more of how technology is pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And if we don't ensure our own self-sufficiency and being able to understanding information technology, then we'll always be behind. We won't be prepared, and so that's why we're looking at information technology. We also are blessed to have such a powerful individual who's been doing this for quite some time. Let's give some feedback or give some information about our guest here. Dr. Terrence Dillard is a son, brother, husband, father, and friend. Born and raised in Detroit, Terrence holds a strong affinity for his native Detroit community. Dr. Dillard's professional background has spanned more than 35 years in technology and information systems. Terrence is the founding president of the North Oakland chapter of the Information Systems Security Association, which is located at the Auburn Hills, Michigan campus of Baker College. Dr. Dillard also serves as a subject matter expert to the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is FBI for those who don't know, InfraGard, in the realm of cybersecurity. Professor Dillard teaches computer science and information security for Lawrence Tech University and Walsh College. He has been a professor for over 8 years. And so again, having the resources like that we are fortunate to have, it's important that we bring people in to express the subject matter experts that they have so that the viewers can learn and also partake in information and use it for our advantage.
Absolutely, and it's so important that we have these types of knowledge and skill sets at our disposal, or access to people with the will, the knowledge, and actual desire to share this information. So we're really grateful for you, Dr. Dillard, for making yourself accessible to the community. And wanted to kick it over to Info Keith and ask, what's your perspective on why it's important and what makes this topic of information technology relevant in your eyes?
Well, it's definitely relevant, especially nowadays, being that we are in the age of information. With the advent of cell phones and the internet and computers, it makes the world that much smaller. You can connect with people all over the world at an instant, really. You can share information at an instant. Anything you don't know, you just Google it. So, I mean, in this age, is no reason for anybody to not know a vast amount of information. And if you don't know, just look it up. And a lot of a lot of the technology that we do use is only as useful as we make it. Because a lot of people just use TV, cell phones, and all of that for entertainment. But we also have the information side of it where we can learn a lot. I mean, a lot of classes and things like that where you normally would pay $2,000, $5,000, you can just type in on YouTube and, you can have a whole semester at MIT because they have MIT open courseware. So you can take a whole semester of classes just, from the comfort of your own home without having to ever step foot in the classroom and learn everything that everybody else is paying for free. So, I mean, it's just, it's powerful. It's a good time to be alive right now.
Absolutely. And so, Dr. Dillard, what is it, based on what Kojo shared, what would you add to the bio that he shared that would help the viewers and listeners get a clearer picture of what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, thanks for that question. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm an information scientist. That's kind of the high-level title that I'm given, or people that's in my profession. If you might imagine, just think about all of the different ways that we function in this information age. You would be hard-pressed to find a profession or a sector of any economy that does not leverage the benefit of technology. What we refer to technology today as a business enabler. Mm-hmm. So there's not a business today that's thriving that does not take maximum advantage of information assets. And with information being such a vital part of the circulatory system of any business, it's really crucial that corporations, businesses, private, nonprofit, you name it, It's vitally important that their systems are well maintained, and furthermore that those systems are well protected. So, and I'll just throw this out as a segue. Information security, really, when we're talking about information systems today, it's almost impossible to teach a student about information technology, information systems without broaching the topic of information security. So information security really is, we tend to talk about three fundamentals of information security. And we call those three fundamentals, we use an acronym or we use three letters to represent it. So I think for many of us here, we might recognize these three letters. CIA. And that's not short for Central Intelligence Agency. It's short for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So what we endeavor to do when we're trying to protect information is information that you would like to keep proprietary or safeguarded from unauthorized access. We want to make sure that it's kept confidential. We only want it to be released when we choose to have it released. The second element there is integrity. So when I leverage my information, it's important that I'm able to trust the information that I'm leveraging, which means that information has to be trustworthy. That also means that it has not been tampered with. So we're interested in the integrity of the information. And then lastly, the last point of that little three-letter acronym would be something known as availability. So imagine if you went to turn on the light switch in your home, but the power grid was down. That would be a bit of an inconvenience for many of us. So what we endeavor to do is keep systems highly available, you see. And so what I do in my everyday practice as an information scientist is I focus on the information security piece. Now, as an IT consultant, I do have clients where I maintain the everyday maintenance, the designing, the architecture of their networks. Mm-hmm. In the past, I used to do a lot more of this type of thing than I do today. I used to actually implement an entire network, everything from the what's called unshielded twisted pair, or the structured wiring of a network, actual central computers called servers, the switching devices called network switches, the routing devices that allow your data to get from where you are to somewhere across the world. Those are called routers. Right. They work very similar to traffic cops. So on the internet, you have a lot of internet traffic, and it has to be managed, it has to be maintained by a traffic cop. Data actually has collisions as it's being transmitted. And when data packets collide, they retransmit. So we have technologies that do all of that. But those technologies do not do that all by themselves. We need knowledgeable people to ensure that that happens.
Wow. So you kind of jump right into the first question that we had was, what is information technology? We hear about IT. What is that? And then the second question was, where does the security piece come in? So I think you answered the second part, but can you kind of paint the picture of what people should visualize when they think of information technology?
Okay, so actually information technology is quite an old item. For instance, when you take an ink pen or a piece of paper, that is an information technology. Yeah. If you think back to the ancient Kemites or even Egypt, the ancient Kemites were very adept at information technology. That's the home of cryptography, the place where we are able to create messages and transmit them in ways where only those who the messages were intended for receive the message. That's known as the art and science of hidden writing. So in today's age, an information technology is any technology that allows you to receive, transmit, or manipulate or store data. And if you think about current lifestyle, we're using information technologies at a pretty sophisticated level. the average person has a very powerful information technology generally in their pocket, in their purse. A smartphone is more powerful than a desktop computer. Think about the small package, the size and the mobility of that device versus what you would have with a desktop computer. So there has to be a lot more technology packed into that small package and a lot more ingenuity to miniaturize and shrink that technology down to where it gives you all of that computing power right in your pocket or in your purse while you're on the go. So information technologies would be things such as your smartphone, laptop computers, desktop computers. Many of our video games today are information technologies. If you look around, outside of buildings and intersections, you see all types of cameras. There's all types of information actually literally swirling. Like right now in this space here, there's lots of data that you can't see and it's right here in the air. You just need the right information technology to pick it up. That would be some sort of either a cellular technology, a Bluetooth technology, a near field communication technology, or a wireless fidelity technology. Also infrared. You're actually using an information technology when you take a remote control and you point it at a television and change the channel.
I saw like heads nodding when he said some of those things. I got infrared. That was
what I got is just some of the lectures I've been to recently when we talk about thoughts and how they're just in the air as well. And like me, I am information technology, because I'm picking up on different thoughts and different feelings and expressing it. So that's what my head I was thinking about. Yeah.
That's an interesting observation. I would agree, but you're a little bit more sophisticated than what we would term as an information technology. When we say information technology today, we're talking about pretty much human inventions that's trying to emulate the human brain.
There it is.
Okay? And so there are there's experimentation that's been going on for the better part of 30 years on what's known as neural networks. These are networks that's using amino acids and other types of organic materials to try to emulate the human body. It's not very common for you to be able to put some cabbage or some mustard greens or carrots into a machine and have it produce what the human body can produce. Right? So we literally have the ability with our human brain. So if we eat a balanced diet and we have the capacity to think clearly, or even if we're not eating the best diet in the world, but yet and still, the body is an amazing organism where we're able to process and critically assimilate and dissect information. What's interesting about this, though, and I want to make sure I don't get too far afield here, but you've heard, I'm sure we've all heard about computer hackers. Now, I won't get too deep into what a computer hacker really is, but let's suffice it to say that fundamentally hackers are not bad. They're experimenters, okay? However, when you hear about hacking in the news, we hear the negative connotations of hacking. It's important to know that the human brain is being hacked today, every day, because many of us have been enticed into putting our most innermost thoughts out into the public sphere, which is easily hackable. So if I kept my thoughts inside of my head and I only communicate them, you remember that thing I talked about earlier about confidentiality? Okay? So if I only communicate them to people that I intend for that message to go to, I'm maintaining the confidentiality of my communications. If I was to put my thoughts out in the electronic sphere and others gain access to it, they can take what I say and they can re-quote it, out of context? Now they're manipulating the integrity of what it is that I'm thinking, you see. So there's really a process going on today of hacking human beings. And that's through a lot of our social technologies that we take so much advantage of.
Spy work going on.
And so we can use this to kind of bring us back to part of what we're here promoting today is the you have a fundraiser that is designed to help teach 192 children.
Yes.
IT it's an IT certification program.
That is correct.
And because, again, I bring this up now to understand that a lot of our youth are growing up in a day and age where Facebook is the norm. It's just, we saw Facebook come into fruition where a lot of the youth, they don't understand getting their mind hacked. They don't understand hacking in general. So part of what I see this program doing that maybe I didn't understand until we had this conversation is that to help our youth understand the power of information in general and what can be done with it, and how it can be manipulated for your benefit or not for your benefit, and not just picking up these devices and just thinking it's a toy, but also understanding the power it has.
Yeah, one of the things that comes to mind as you share those thoughts is that what I see as a professional in this space. So as was noted in my bio, I do teach computer science. I've been teaching for just over 8 years, but I teach for a number of different schools. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what the combined total experience that would represent. However, I encounter lots of students, and it would be reasonable to say since 8 years ago when I first started teaching, I've probably educated well over 3,000 students in computer science or information technology. What I have found sort of striking is the low number of African American students who come through this course of study. And there are many statistics that really underscore the fact that by the year 2022, there's going to be an absolute explosion within the IT space. I don't have the wherewithal here in this conversation to cite all of those stats, but IT is an area that's not going to subside. It's only going to expand. Yeah. I mean, think about the sheer dependency that most of us have for technology today. So for many of our youth, they have no notion of the vitality and the opportunity that exists within the technology space. And what research seems to show is that part of the reason why African Americans are not pursuing high-paying, high-growth, high-opportunity careers in computer science, information technology, is because we do not see a lot of computer scientists in our communities, to be frankly honest. We see lots of teachers, we see some teachers, we see lots of preachers, we see lots of athletes.
Rappers, don't forget that.
We see a lot of hip-hop artists, right? Rappers. And lots of hustlers, right? Things of that nature, but it's not very common to meet a computer scientist.
I mean, most of us are disqualified just starting from elementary or kindergarten because, like you said, one, they're not there, and two, a lot of our education that we do receive is subpar or inadequate. So, whereas if I start in college as a freshman and somebody else from a suburban school starts as a freshman, more than likely they've had calculus, they've had computer programming, robotics, all of that. Like a lot of public schools don't even have robotics at all. So you already start at a detriment before you even get started, before you even decide that you want to be a computer scientist. You're already starting behind the starting line.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important that we're really going to get. We're going to take a break and we're going to kind of really get into what it is that you're doing with this Indiegogo campaign, IT Gateway program for high school students, and I think Info Keith is really hitting the nail on the head about the many of the reasons why why Dr. Dillard is so rare, and why we need this program to be successful. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. This is Readyo Radio. This is episode 50, Information Technology with the great Dr. Dillard. And this is Readyo Radio. We'll be right back after these messages.
Public schools could run out of cash within months, so now leaders are looking to state lawmakers for a bailout.
The first sales pitch was made this morning at the state capitol.
Tonight, the Detroit Public School District says it is trying to address a problem that can affect everyone in class.
It's a teacher shortage, and 7 Action News reporter Kim Russell joins us with a stunning example that shows just how bad that problem can be. Kim.
Yes, as the district fills positions, burned out teachers are leaving. One of them is the only math teacher at the Detroit Institute of Technology, a school with 300 kids.
New technologies are altering the media landscape today. This year, traditional advertising is dying. Meanwhile, digital advertising is rapidly growing. Big American TV corporations get collectively 10 million viewers per day, and they've been around for a combined 200 years. Whereas new media corporations get collectively 250 million per day, and they haven't been around for more than 6 years. The computer in your cell today is a lot smaller, more powerful, and cheaper than those old computers in MIT. So now that old computer fits inside your pocket, and what fits inside your pocket will fit inside one blood cell in less than 35 years. NTT Japan has tested a cable that transmits 14 trillion bits per second. Relatively speaking, that's over 2,000 CDs of information and 21 million phone calls. That rate is expected to triple every 6 months and will do so for the next 25 years. So, are you ready for the future?
Peace and power, back live with Readyo Radio. That's Readyo Radio. And we're going to jump right back into episode 50, Information Technology, with the great Dr. Dillard. Before the break, we were talking about a lot of the work that you do in information security, and you're also doing this work on at the Charles H. Wright Museum in Detroit, Museum of African American History, and you're doing something called Meet the Scientist Saturdays, where you're educating the youth. And I think that is just a brilliant concept. Just speaking about what Keith was talking about, how we don't see black scientists, or we only see George Washington Carver, and everybody's like, I don't really like peanuts. That's not really me, you know. And this is really, you know, how we think, you know. So I wanted we want to really jump into this project for the youth, because what we're hearing is that your mission is really to make this more available and available.
Yes.
As a CIA.
Absolutely.
Available for the youth, and there's a cooperative economics component in all of this. So I want you to tell us what's the fundraiser, the project called on Indiegogo, and I'm just gonna let you jump right into it.
Excellent. So the project is called the IT Gateway Program for High School Students. And for anyone who's interested in locating us within Indiegogo, all they have to do is type in Indiegogo.com. That's INDIEGOGO.com. And once you get to the Indiegogo site, go to the search field and just type in DCM. That's all you have to type. And when you hit enter, you'll see the campaign come right up. And so what we're looking for is we're looking to rally our community to support high school students from the city of Detroit to learn information technology. And we're looking to educate 192 students from 4 schools within the city of Detroit. We've adopted these students. We've adopted these schools that will nominate students. And what will happen is we will basically guide and nurture each student from the beginning of the process through the end, at which they will receive a certification, the same certification that my students at Oakland Community College receive. I teach the same course at Oakland Community College. The course at Oakland Community College, it's well over $1,000, but yet we're offering this at a total fraction of the cost. And so what we need to do for these students in our community, because many of them really don't have the money to fund such a course, we want to remove the barrier of entry. We want to make it easy for them to get into this course. One of the challenges that many of our students have to begin with when they're in college and they're pursuing computer science is they don't get a whole lot of direction, a lot of nurturing, a lot of guidance or mentoring towards their goal. And as a mentor, I've helped many African American students. I help all of my students, but I really reach out to my African American students because I know how tough it was for me to enter into this space. And so we really need more African Americans in information science. And this is one way to get that process started. Now, B, I know that you're very much focused on cooperative economics.
Absolutely.
I know during this time of the year when we start to celebrate Kwanzaa, that's one of the main tenets that we recognize. Well, I don't think that there's a better representation of cooperative economics than to consider this for, a young person in our community. So I just want to throw that out there. And
you actually have a video on the Indiegogo that promotes what the project is about, right?
Absolutely. Actually, in reality, we have two videos. So the first video really talks about the challenge that we have. For many of us, we know this story all too well. The challenge that we have in public education, most notably in the city of Detroit. But then further down on the campaign, there's another video that really underscores some of the mentoring that has been done. There are several of my former students who are there sort of giving testimony to the fact that, I as their professor have helped them along their path to becoming IT professionals. And today they're operating in this industry and they're making very solid salaries.
Congratulations.
Their careers are on a very sound footing.
And let's actually want to show some of those, at least one of those clips, so that the viewers and listeners can actually really grasp what it is that Dr. Dillard is speaking about. So we're going to cut right to the clip.
At Osborne School, 800 or 900 students come in as 9th graders. By the time they're 10th graders, it's down to 545 students. By the time they reach 11th grade, it's down to 345 students. When this same cohort reached 12th grade, it's 245 students to graduate. And by then they've had to take the high-stakes test, the MEP test, in the 4 main areas. And remember, it's minimum competencies. 11 students, 11 passed the MEP test.
The children is not first when it comes to Detroit public schools. Some of them, when they graduate from high school, they still can't read, they still can't add, subtract.
They don't care if you're gonna learn. They will not show you how to do it or nothing.
One of my teachers told me if I come to his class, he said he would just pass me if I just show up and shut up. They say they make their money whether we learn or not.
And if the teachers don't care because they feel like you don't care, you feel like, what's the point? Why should I come here every single day and waste my time and waste your time?
They don't have to travel a great distance, just over the Detroit city lines, to see suburban schools that are far different from theirs. It's a legacy that stretches back the decades to white flight, to the Milliken Supreme Court case. The students in Detroit may not know all of the history, but they have a keen sense of the injustice.
It's not fair that you see kids in Southfield and Waterford and all this, and they have computers in their classrooms, and they have new textbooks I've never even seen before. And I go to the biggest district, and they can't even afford to give us a quality education or the kind of education that other kids are getting. And it's frustrating to know that I can be learning all of these things, and I can be doing all of these things, and I can't. And people think that the children in Detroit public schools are stupid and brutish because of what they see on television. And it's not true. We want to learn. We want to be able to do what the other children are doing. We want to have the same opportunities, but they keep taking them away from us. It's like they're keeping us down, and then you find out that the people who are supposed to be looking after us, after our well-being, they're stealing from us. And every day I want to know why. Why is this happening?
So, Dr. Dillard, you want to continue on telling us about the program and how it's going to work?
Yes. So the way this program works, it's a course it runs a total of 16 weeks. So we basically map that out to approximately 62 hours of. It's not just simply instruction. Really, the instruction part lasts about 12 weeks. So we take the student through all of the fundamentals of information technology. They learn all of the physics, they learn all of the theoretical side of IT in order for them to become a certified IT professional. And after they have completed all of the requirements, they will have a midterm, a final, and they have all of the labs are built right into our course, so they get hands-on experience. And after they've completed this process, then they will take a certification test. And our process really prepares them well for the certification test. The certification test is actually included in the cost of them being in this course.
Excellent.
And once they complete that certification test, they receive the actual credential from the company that provides the credential. And we help them develop a portfolio. Once they have their portfolio, then we start to help them secure opportunities. Right now, there's a huge number of internship cooperative jobs at General Motors and other corporations that's looking for IT interns. There's an article that's out right now, and this article was, I believe it was sometime in October of this year, that General Motors is looking to hire 17,000 IT professionals by 2017. Okay, so that's quite a significant number of just from General Motors alone.
And that's in this area, or that's national?
It could be nationally, but I think one of the main points here is that when you consider, automobiles that have all of the IT built in, all of the telematics. We're now experimenting quite extensively with driverless automobiles. Imagine you're going down I-75 and someone hacks into your car.
That just makes me so nervous.
I'm sure
I robot. I never trust those cars. I don't trust them.
So what you need in manufacturing and design and development, you need folks who have IT competencies who are able to evaluate those challenges. And so General Motors needs to equip themselves for that future. Not only GM, but Toyota, Chrysler, Ford, Volkswagen, BMW. That's just on the automotive side of the ledger. So this program, essentially, so what we're looking for is for folks within our community to go out to the site. And I would encourage you to take a little bit of time. This is a really serious matter that we are confronted with within our communities. The education of our youth, which is our future. And with the breakdown in our educational system, if we don't step up and take this problem, by the horns, I don't see anyone else doing it for us, And so I take myself as one who's in this field, and I do get paid a reasonably good sum of money to teach this for other schools. And the folks who are coming through my classrooms are not African Americans. So bringing this directly into our community, I think, is a very deliberate act. We want to attack this problem very intentionally, right? So I think this is something where when you go out there to the site, there's a couple of videos, but I really encourage you to read the campaign so you can fully embrace what it is that we're aiming to do. And maybe view yourself as a partner in this endeavor. I know a lot of kids, here we are in this holiday season where, You know, they sometimes say it's a time for family and it's the season for giving. And a lot of our youth are probably going to want MP3 players, headphones, video games, whatever. But those things, you know, as soon as the next video game come out, they're going to want the new one.
Mm-hmm.
So those things go obsolete. But if you give, pardon me, if you give them a gift that will last them well into the future,
absolutely,
I think that's priceless.
I just want to speak to my experience in becoming a mechanical engineer. My father enrolled me in a unigraphics course when I was in 10th grade.
What is that?
Unigraphics is a computer-aided drafting program. Basically, if you want to design anything from a table to a cell phone to a pencil to a car, you can actually create it in a three-dimensional space. So you can actually see what the product may look like. You can do stress analysis to see where the weak points are, different things of this sort. and so in high school, my father again introduced me to that concept, and ever since I became an engineer, it's what I looked for. I was a manufacturing engineer, I didn't like it. I did this engineering, didn't like it. But until I got back in front of a computer and can, you know, create something in that space, it's because it was my foundation into engineering, you know. And so with this program here, again, a lot of why we talked about it earlier, we have a lot of people who have no even idea of what IT is, and now to introduce them to this and give them all the tools they need. I mean, not to say that every single one of them will become IT professionals, but it just opens the door to something that was closed to them. And I am a living example of somebody who benefited from something similar.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the same with me too. Just same thing. My dad is an electrician, so he was my reasoning for wanting to become an electrical engineer. You know, I enjoyed working with them, watching them, and thought, you know, maybe I could do the same thing. So I became an electrical engineer.
It's sort of ironic that you two brothers are sharing about the influence that your dad had, because literally, even though this campaign does not go into that detail, when I'm sharing this story with folks outside of the internet, I'm just going around to different folks trying to encourage them to support this endeavor. I share my story. Mm-hmm. The way I ended up, I started out in electronics, but when I was 13, I was around my parents' home, and in their view, I was destroying things, but in my view, I was investigating. You know, I was, and back in that day, I won't talk about how old I am. I'm not ashamed of my age, but back then, you know, I was dissecting 8-track tape players and cassette players and record players. You know,
costing money.
Yes, yes, right. And my dad basically felt, you know, it would probably be best for everybody in this house if we go find you somewhere else to destroy things. And he took me to a local television repair shop on Jefferson and Chalmers called TV Rebuilders. And that owner, it was a black owner of the establishment. They allowed me to come in as an intern. I was 13 years old. I started sweeping floors and taking out trash. Before I knew it, I was repairing televisions. And by the time I was 15 years of age, I had my own television repair shop in the basement of my parents' home. I was making money. And by the time I entered high school, I studied electronics all the way through high school. When I hit the 11th grade, I was working at the General Motors Tech Center and engineering staff doing electronics. And then once I went into the United States Air Force, it really built upon itself, and ultimately I ended up in computer science. But I really go back and credit that to the influence of my dad. Now, I'm not going to suggest that our youth are all devoid of dads to give them that inspiration. But clearly, they need to be around someone. Now, my dad was not an electrical engineer. He was not a mechanical engineer. He was not a computer scientist. But my dad did have the wisdom or the presence of mind to take me around others who were doing the work, who could inspire me, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is what I feel we need to facilitate for our youth. We need to put them in that space. And that's what this program is all about.
And in the spirit of cooperative as well, you know, from a ancestor standpoint, you know, this word Baba that I call my father, that I know a lot of those who grew up in Afrocentric environments use, it's not even really a term that says, we call it father, but you got to understand the context really is about an elder who was acting as a father figure to me. And so, you know, I have many Babas in our community. And so I say that to say that there may be children today who don't have fathers, you know, in their household, but those are viewers who are watching this video can take it upon themselves to actually go and support the Indiegogo fundraiser, and can be a Baba for these children, because we all need that energy, whether we're born with it or a neighbor supplies it for us, or there's a teacher or a professor or whatever. But we all need that energy in our lives. So it's important that we don't lose sight.
So, Dr. Dillard, we just learned a lot about what you're doing with the Indiegogo campaign for Detroit youth and high school students. Can you tell people where to find it, to just remind people where they can go to donate to the Indiegogo?
Absolutely. So once again, if you go to www.indiegogo.com, which is INDIEGOGO.com, and once you hit enter, you should come to the Indiegogo homepage. Then go to the search field of the homepage and just type in 3 letters. Type in DCM and hit enter, and you will see IT Gateway Program for high school students. When you click on that, you're in the campaign. And once again, I would encourage you to take the time to watch the video, read the campaign, and then there's also some testimonials at the bottom of the campaign, and that will give you a good sense of what our focus is, what our endeavor is, and how we can use your help. And I want to iterate as well, if you are not able to really contribute at the time that you go to the site, we also need for you to spread the word. You can spread the word in your social circles, communicate the site to other people. You could forward the site to other folks, communicate it on Facebook, LinkedIn, tweet the information to folks in your circle. That would be very, very helpful. We really want this campaign to go viral. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can also check. We'll have a posting of the campaign on our Facebook fan page. So make sure you look for that. If you're watching this and it's not January 20th, and just scroll down a little bit, we may have a few other things, but it's on there as well.
And that's Readyo Radio, READYO Radio on Facebook. And we definitely want to continue the conversation. What do you think about what Dr. Dillard is doing with digital countermeasures and this Gateway program for youth? How can, maybe you have some resources you would like to contribute, maybe you want to get more involved. Let's just continue the conversation on our Facebook, and if you actually want to comment on our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube under this video, feel free to do so as well.
Just so anyone who watching this may have other interests, can you provide any way to reach out to you outside of the fundraiser?
Absolutely. So my website for my company is www.dcmeasures.com, and we have a contact page there. You can also contact me at Terry, Terry, at dcmeasures.com, and it'll come directly into my inbox. And if you leave some contact information, maybe a phone number, I will be very glad to reach out to you.
Thank
you. Excellent, excellent. And it just seems this is just perfect timing. We just had the STEAMS conference, which is science, technology, economics, arts, mathematics, and strategy. And now we have some strategies for getting the STEAM out to the people. So that's really exciting. And this is the Kwanzaa, or the giving season, and we're also about to celebrate Kwanzaa as well. So it just touches on a lot of each one of those 7 principles is embodied in what it is that you're doing and what it is that we're doing, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's really important. And we were excited to have you on the show. You have so much to offer, so we got to have you back on the show to talk more about information security and get into Web 2.0 and some of these other things that you kind of drop some gems. Digital currency, and what are the impacts of these devices that are more powerful than desktop computers.
The next time I'm back, and hopefully you brothers remember this, let's talk about linguistic forensics.
Sounds like I have some research to do. So yeah, that's our show. This is Readyo Radio. Anybody have any final thoughts they want to share?
Peace and power.
Peace. Don't take my line. Yeah, peace and power. This is Readyo Radio team. This is Mindful B.
Coach Joe Lee.
Info Key.
Dr. Dillard.
Dr. Dillard, and this has been episode 50, Information Security and Technology, Gateway to the Future. Peace.